What's up everybody, welcome to the Sons of Seaver YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today we're talking about the Groundies Active, and we're pretty excited about Groundies. This is the first shoe that we've gotten from them, so it is a brand new brand for us. And they do have some cool features to them just as a brand in general. If you go and look at their website, they're based in Germany, the shoes are produced in Vietnam, and a lot like Lems here in the US, they've got 3 different width sizes to the shoes that they offer. So they have regular, they've got Barefoot, and they've got Barefoot Plus. This one is in the Barefoot category, and just a little teaser here, we are going to talk about the width of that toe box in our dislikes. There are timestamps in the description of the video. Head down there if you want to jump around, but let's talk real quick about the specs of this shoe. It's super light, it's 9.2 ounces. The overall stack height, I have it at about 6 to 7 millimeters. So the website talks about a 4.5 millimeter base. They don't mention the insole, but it's really thin. It's probably about 2 millimeters, maybe 3. So that's why I put it at around 6 to 7 millimeters overall. They're very flexible. They are zero drop, and it's made out of recycled textile and TPU. And as far as the sizing goes, their website does recommend that you size up. We did that. I'm usually a European 42. This is a 43, and it fits me just right. They retail at 129.90 euros, which, when you're comparing them to a very similar shoe, the Vivo Barefoot Primus Lite 3 is a little bit cheaper. So I do think that their pricing is a little more mid-tiered, although you're getting probably around the same experience, and that's always something to be excited about. So let's send it over to Chris now so that he can talk about his likes of the shoe.
Getting into my likes of the Groundies Active, I'm going to blanket all of my likes under the idea that this thing is made to be an optimal lifting shoe, not an optimal training shoe. A really well-rounded training shoe is going to have a lot of squish to the sole of it. This doesn't have any of that whatsoever, which is going to make it better for lifting than overall training. I'm going to talk about a couple of different features I like about it that make it really good for heavy lifting, deadlifts, squats, those kinds of things. So the first one is going to be the flexibility of this thing. Because of how minimal it is very, very flexible. And what I like about that for a lifting shoe is it's going to allow my foot to do all the things that it's supposed to do. It's not going to get in the way of my foot's mobility. So when I'm doing something like a reverse lunge or a Cossack squat, it's going to allow my foot to bend and twist in whatever way it needs to. Now, it does have some TPU that surrounds it, which is going to give it some structure, which is very nice. It does give you a little bit of help, but it does not impede your foot's function at all. The next thing I want to talk about is the minimalism of the sole. We have a 2 millimeter base stack height, a 2.5 millimeter tread pattern, and then what I think is a 2 millimeter insole. It doesn't say on the website, and I took it out anyway. So we are just going to call it 4.5 to possibly 6.5 millimeters. I like that stack height for lifting weights. If you're wearing a squishy shoe when you're doing heavy lifts like a heavy deadlift, that shoe is going to squish outward, and that's going to be an energy leak. That's going to make your lifts less efficient, and you're not going to be able to lift as much weight. This has very, very minimal, if any, squish to it whatsoever, so it's great for those movements where you are pushing through the floor and trying to be as efficient with those lifts as possible. I definitely want to mention how light this thing is, although I wouldn't run in it because that's what most people think when they think light shoes is running. You could definitely do sprints on a soft surface like turf in these, and they're not going to weigh you down. Same thing with something like box jumps. If you like to jump up and down, you don't want to wear heavy shoes. This thing isn't super light compared to its competitors, but it's in the same ballpark of lightness, so I find it very nice when it comes to weight. The last thing I want to mention is the tread pattern. I actually don't think the tread pattern does anything super special in order to make this thing grippy, but the outsole itself is made of a softer rubber. And what a softer rubber is going to do is it's going to kind of fill the cracks in the floor where you're stepping, and it's going to grab really, really nicely. So it does have a tread pattern, and I'm sure that helps, but I think the softness of the rubber is what leads to this thing being pretty grippy, and it does a really good job in situations where it does need to anchor to the floor. With my likes of the Groundies Active out of the way, now I'm going to pass things over to Eric to talk about what he likes about the shoe.
Okay, when it comes to my likes of the Groundies Active, the first thing that I'll say about these is they do give you an extremely barefoot experience. So if you're here looking for one of the most barefoot feeling active slash gym shoes out there, then this is probably one that you're going to want to keep looking into. With that 6 to 7 millimeter stack height and all the flex that this thing gives you, you are very close to the ground. There's a ton of ground feel in these, and so they definitely give you that barefoot feeling experience. I also think these are built really well. They feel durable and pretty sturdy in hand, especially compared to another shoe that we just reviewed that is very, very similar. This is the Air Haas TPU model, and if you look at these things, they're very, very similar, but this one, being a budget shoe from Amazon, just doesn't feel as well built. We did talk about how these do feel better than some budget models that we've gotten from Amazon, but this being more of a mid-tier priced barefoot active shoe, it definitely has that feeling to it. It doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart on me. And then a few other things about it too. It's very comfortable to wear. It's got this nice padded collar. It's got some mesh panels for breathability. So overall, a pretty comfortable shoe. One note when it comes to the comparison with these and the Air Haas, the tongue of the Air Haas shoe, if you watch that one, you remember, bunched down towards the bottom of my foot. This one doesn't seem to have that problem. Although they're constructed very similarly, this one stays up much better than that one does. I also really like the look of the shoe. I think that it's styled very well, very common for European shoes. They're very fashion forward and they do a good job at the styling. So I think that this thing is definitely something that I would rock around town casually as well. And then I think that it can get by in a number of situations. Like, should this be your dedicated running shoe? Probably not, but I think that if your feet are used to running on very, very little, if they're adjusted to very little stack heights, then this can pass off as a pretty decent running shoe for you. Obviously, it's going to shine in the gym with that sticky outsole that it has, but I think that it could get away with playing a game of pickleball as well. So to me, this kind of seems like the Feelgrounds move, in that you probably don't want it to be your dedicated pickleball shoe or your dedicated running shoe, but it is one that you can definitely get away with in a number of situations. I think that this guy would do a good job with its versatility there. Before sending it back over to Chris, let's talk about some of the affiliates that we have going on with the channel right now.
Are you looking to take your barefoot shoe experience to another level? Then you're going to need a solid pair of toe socks that lets you take advantage of all that toe box. We love Creeper's Toe Socks, a sock that beat out 6 other toe sock brands in a comparison video we did that you can see through the card up in the corner. Whether it's cold or hot, whether you're hiking, running, or lounging, Creeper's Toe Socks will ensure that your feet stay comfy, dry, and healthy. If you're interested in checking out Creepers, head down to the link in the description and use our discount code to save yourself 15% off at checkout. Getting into my dislikes of the Groundies Active, the first thing that I want to mention is they're a little too narrow for my feet. My pinky toe definitely finds its way to the outer edge here. I didn't even try wearing this with toe spacers because I don't think they'd actually do anything. The shoe would just squish the toe spacers together and squish my toes back together. Would love to see Groundies expand their toe box a little bit. I'm interested to see with other models that we're going to try if the toe box is the same on those. If so, another millimeter, 2, maybe 3 would be very much welcome. The other thing is, I don't think that these are particularly versatile based on the way that they look and what they're made for. You probably get away with this casually if you wanted to buy a shoe that's good for the gym and then just walking around and hanging out and going to the movies and stuff. Definitely not going to be a go-to shoe for date night. Probably not going to be able to get away with this in a business casual work setting or anything more formal than that. So really, this thing's not going super far outside of just hanging around town or going to the gym.
Alright, when it comes to my dislikes, and as I alluded to in the intro of the video, the biggest thing for me is just this toe box. In Groundies' barefoot category of shoes, it's just not quite wide enough for me, and I think a big part of that is just how tapered this thing is. It actually comes off as quite pointy, in my opinion. And what I would need from this would be just a little more rounded instead of tapered on the outside there, and another millimeter or 2 in width, and then it would probably fit my feet perfectly. A note on the laces as well. Chris got traditional laces. I got this bungee one, and this wasn't actually a very durable piece for me. If there's one fail point on the shoe, I think it might be that, because the first time that I went to tighten that, I pulled right here, and this piece pulled out of the little tab, and so I just super glued it back in there, and it's been fine ever since. But I would definitely go for a model that's got the traditional laces, or swap these out. That's kind of my plan with them right now, is just to swap them out for traditional laces. I think that would suit me better, at least. Maybe there's people out there who like these bungee laces. I've never been a big fan of them.
Getting into my final opinion of the Groundies Active, can I recommend this shoe to you? The answer is, it depends on your feet. It's a bit of a deal breaker for me, the way that this toe box is, how wide it is. It's got all the other features that I want in a really solid lifting shoe, but I have those same features in some other shoes, plus the wide toe box. So it'd be really hard for me to justify choosing this one over one of those ones. Now, if you like the way that this looks, you think that it appeals to you casually, and you're looking for a solid gym shoe, and your toe box is a little bit more narrow, this is the shoe that you've been looking for. But again, for me, my biggest issue is just that toe box isn't quite wide enough. Otherwise, I really do like this shoe.
So when it comes to my final opinion of this shoe, I would put some normal laces on these, and I would definitely take a little bit more width out of this toe box, and then they definitely would have a winner here. So if you're somebody who's looking for an extremely barefoot feeling shoe that can get your way in a bunch of active situations, mainly in the gym, and you're looking at mid-tier pricing, and your foot doesn't need the widest toe boxes of all, then I definitely would suggest this for you. I think that they've built a really nice, minimal, well-priced, and durable gym shoe here.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.